So the next inbuilt function that we would see today is called as string. So a string function is a very simple function wherein it will print a particular character a specific number of times, which we have mentioned in the input parameter of this function called as string. So if I enter the value string and when I open the bracket, you can see it accepts two parameters. First is the number, so let's say if I mention the number as 4, and second is the character which I have to pass, or which I have to print. So if I mention the character as R, so basically this function string would print this character R 4 times, right? So if I have to show it to you, just mention print and I'll execute this function. So if you see in the output now, it has printed the character R 4 times. So this is how the string function works. Okay, very simple. So the next function that we would see now is these three functions: trim, ltrim and rtrim. So these functions are used to trim, as the word itself. It will basically trim any spaces or white spaces that are there either on the left side or on the right side or on the both side of a particular string. So I'll explain that with an example. So let's say we have this variable str text with the value as this is so easy, right? Now let me add some spaces, probably 3 spaces on the left side and a 1 space on the right side. Okay, so if I have a string, with value like this, and if I, have to remove the spaces that are there on the left side first. So if this is what I want, I can make use of this inbuilt function called as ltrim. Okay, so ltrim, as I said earlier, it will remove any extra spaces that are there on the left side. That is why it is called as ltrim, and it will take the string as the input parameter. So now if I execute this code, I'll press F5 to execute. You will see all the extra white spaces that were there on the left side of the string has been trimmed, or it has been removed, whereas the one space that is there on the right side is still there, right? Because since I've used ltrim function, it will remove only the white spaces that are there on the left side. Okay, similarly, if I want to remove the spaces that are there on the right side of the string, I can make use of this inbuilt function rtrim. Okay, so I'll execute this again. So now when I execute this, if you see in the output, the one white space that was there on the right side has been removed, whereas the spaces that are there on the left side have remained intact, right? Because I have used the function rtrim. Okay, so no white spaces on the left side would be removed. Okay. However, if I want to remove the white spaces from both the left as well as on the right side, I simply have to use the inbuilt function called as trim. Okay, and then when I pass the string parameter, it will remove the spaces that are there from both left as well as from the right side. So now if I execute, you will see the str text value as this is so easy, without any extra spaces either on the left or on the right side. Okay, so this is how the inbuilt function ltrim, rtrim and trim would work. Okay, so the next three functions, left, right and mid, are used to extract a substring from the main string. So for example, Okay, let's take this variable str text. Okay, let me remove the extra spaces that I had added. And now let's say if I want to extract some characters from the left side. So let's say if I want to extract the 4 characters that are there from the left side of the string, I need to use a function called as left. Okay, so what this function will accept as parameter is first the string which I want to extract from and the length. So length would be the length of the character I want to extract. So if I say I want to extract 4 characters, so what this basically would do is it will extract 4 characters from the left side. So starting with T, H, I, S, right? So this is what would be extracted from the main string. Okay, so it's very simple. So now if I print this value and if I run this, it will extract me the value as this. Okay, so let me also show you what write function would do. Again, the logic is the same. You know, it will accept 2 parameters, first the string and then the number of characters I want to extract from the right side. So again, if I mention the character count as 4, it will extract 4 characters from the right side, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So it will print me the value as easy. Okay, so now when I execute this code, the first function, left function, will extract me the value as this because that is the 4 characters from the left, and the second function, right, would extract me the value as easy, which is nothing but 4 characters from the right side. Okay, so let me remove the previous log, and now by pressing F5 I'm executing this. And as expected, the first value that has been extracted from the left side is this, and the second value that is extracted from the right side is easy. Okay, so this is how left and right would work. Now if I want to extract something from the middle, you know, something from the middle, not from the extreme left nor from the extreme right, so in that case there is a function, inbuilt function called as mid. So what this function does is basically it will accept 3 parameters, the third one being optional. So the first parameter that it uses is the string which I want to extract from. Second would be the starting position from what, you know, I want to extract, and third is the length, how many characters I want to extract from that starting position. So if I mention the string as str text, and let's say from position number 6 I want to extract 2 characters, right? So what this will extract would be, let's say, let's count. Okay, so from position number 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, right? So 6th character is character I. From this particular position I want to extract 2 characters, so that would be I and S, right? So this will print me the value as is. Okay, because I have mentioned I want to extract from str text from position number 6 2 characters, so that would be I and S. Okay, similarly if I use the same function but I don't pass the third parameter, which is optional, so in this case what would happen is that from position number 6 it will extract me the entire remaining part of the string. Okay, since I have not mentioned how many characters I want to extract, so it will extract me all the characters till the end of the string. So line number 5 will extract me only 2 characters from position number 6, which would be, you know, the value as is, and line number 6 would extract me all the characters starting from position number 6, which would be is so easy. Okay, so now let me execute this. I'll press F5 and I'll click enter. and here we are. So the first value which is extracted is as we discussed, and the second value that was extracted is so easy. Alright, so this is how mid function works when you first pass a parameter of the length of the character which you want to extract, and the second scenario where we don't mention what is the length of the character which we want to extract. Okay, so it will extract all the characters from that particular starting position. Okay, so this is how left, right and mid function works. Okay, so yeah, so now we are left with two more inbuilt functions that we would be seeing in this session. So the first is join and the last one is split. So as the name suggests, it basically works exactly the opposite way. The split would basically split a main string into different substrings, whereas join would join different substring to form one single main string. Okay, so we will see this with the help of an example. Okay, so now let's say I want to split this string value, which is this is so easy, into different substring. Okay, so first I would need to tell VBScript compiler on what basis I would split this particular string. Okay, so if you see, one thing that is common in this particular string is that all of these words are separated by a space. Okay, so I can tell VBScript to split this string whenever it encounters a white space or a blank space in this main string. Okay, so first of all I would need to use a function split, and before that I would need to declare an array variable, let's say arr text, which will store these different substring values. Okay, so I'll declare an array variable arr text, and then arr text now will store the value of these different substring. So how would I split this main string? I will use the function split. Okay, and again over here it accepts different parameters, but generally we use the first two. The first is the expression, which is nothing but the string itself, str text, and second is the delimiter, on what basis it would split the main string. Okay, so the first parameter would be str text, and the second parameter, as I mentioned earlier, I would say I want to split this string on the basis of the white space that is there. Okay, so whenever it encounters a white space, it will split that string at that particular position. So now what would happen is that it will start with the first character THIS, and then it encounters a white space. So this will trigger VBScript to split this string at this particular position, okay, and when it splits, this value will be stored in the index of this array variable that we have declared as arr text. So this would be stored in index 0. Then it will move ahead, it will encounter the character I and then S and then again a white space. So again this string would get splitted at this particular position, and this value is will now get stored in index 1. It will move ahead again, it will first get the value as S, then O, and then again a space, right? So again it will be splitted at this particular position, and the value SO will now be stored in index 2, and then it will move ahead with the character EASY, and finally it will reach the end of the string. So automatically this last value will now get stored in index 3. Okay, so let me add a breakpoint over here to see how it works. I can add a breakpoint by clicking on this section, or I can press F9 to add a breakpoint. Okay, so now let me run the script and see how the split function works. Okay, so I can go to local variables section and can see the variable ARR text. I can expand this and I can see clearly that there are 4 indexes created starting with 0, which will store the value as this. Index 1 will store the value as is, index 2 will store the value as so, and finally index 3 will store the value as easy. So how this particular string got splitted? It got splitted on the basis of the delimiter, which I have mentioned here as space. Okay, so the delimiter can be anything, but in this case I found the easiest way to split this is based on this delimiter, which you can see as space. Okay, so now let's see how join would work in this case. So it is exactly the opposite, right? So if I split a particular string, I can also join it using this inbuilt function called as join. So join would take 2 parameters. One is the array which we want to join, and second is the delimiter. So whatever value that are stored in different indexes of this array will be joined together and separated by the delimiter, which I mentioned over here. So it is space. Okay, so basically it will again return me the same string value, which is this is so easy. Okay, so let's run this now. Okay, I'm going to save this. Okay, I'm going to print this value of join, right? So I've added the keyword print, and now I'm going to run this code. F5. And if you see in the output now, the value this is so easy has been printed. Okay, so first it splitted the function string variable into an array, which we saw just a few minutes back, and finally at line number 4 it joined this array ARR text, and it joined each of these index values, separating it with the delimiter as space. Okay, so this is how the split and join function works. Right, with this we have completed seeing the different inbuilt some of the different inbuilt functions that are provided by VBScript. Okay, alright, thank you so much, and we will meet next time with a different set of topic. Thank you.